Oh, here we go again. Hey, everybody, here we are again. It's been forever for me, but it's probably been much less for you. We are back. We're here to talk to yet another dad, awesome guy. Dustin Hayes is coming to us from California. He's going to share his dad wisdom, his fatherly advice. He's actually the owner and operator of Red, White, and Badass Brews. He's going to get into that. It may not be exactly what you think when you hear me say that, but maybe you've already heard about it. He's also a retired Navy veteran, and that's really specifically why we wanted him on today. He's going to broaden our minds and smarten us up about what it is like to be a dad in the Navy. So thank you for coming on, Dustin. And I guess, give us a bit of your origin story.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it started really, fatherhood started in California, but I grew up in Oklahoma, Yukon, Oklahoma. Kind of dropped out of high school, just lost my way during growing up, was never a very good student. So, 10th grade, I told my dad, hey, I'm done, man. I'm not going to graduate. I'm going to be like 19, 20 before I graduate, if I graduate. So I don't want to have to repeat high school 2, 3 times to graduate. And he's like, yeah. He's like, go ahead. I'll give you 30 days to figure your shit out. So I was looking into the Marines, and my sister was married to a lieutenant commander at the time. And he talked me into going to the Navy. So went to the Navy and had a blast. Was just kind of my first time away from home, and just kind of I drank a lot, and I also worked my damn ass off. So my partying matched my work ethic,
Right on.
which got me in trouble. But you know, nonetheless, enjoyed it. Went to Cap's Mass a couple of times because of it. I got caught underage drinking twice, so I wasn't very good at
While in
sneaking
the
around.
service?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. While
wow.
I was in the service, yeah.
You
First
got caught.
time was 3 months at my first command. 3 fucking months, and even though they recognize me as a hard worker, they're like, "Yep, nothing we can do for you." The second time it happened, they're like, "Okay, we can't lose you because one, you shoulders need work ethics." So they sent me TAD to a different ship, so that way I could get charged for the second time. So I eluded it the second time. First time they crucified me. So because I was 30 days at the command, even though I had a work ethic, uh, if there was a job that needed to be done, they could count on me, hands down. But yeah, they gave me like 30 days. Yeah, 30 days, kind of like in jail, is what they call it. 30 days in jail, but it's like 30 days restriction where I just couldn't leave the ship. And then they docked my pay, half pay times two. So for 2 months, I only got half a pay, which we didn't get paid shit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I wasn't going out partying, so wasn't that big of a deal. And I didn't have any bills other than a car payment. Um, but Fatherhood, man, how I got into fatherhood was probably most like most veterans, by not pulling out good enough. And we, I was 21 when I met her. It was November like 5th or 6th, and I was fresh off of deployment. I'm talking fresh off deployment. And I think what military guys go through is we are gone for so long that when we get somebody that is maybe even half decent and we don't even know them, we fall in love. But we don't even really know what love is, I don't think. I think we just know what lust is. We know what's filling this need and this void. So I met this chick. We were having fun for about 3 months, and very quickly lust kind of went out the window, and we broke up. About 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, she calls me up and she's like, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And we haven't talked for about 3 weeks, and I didn't use protection at all. So uh, she calls me up, "I'm pregnant." Now, when she calls me up, I'm in Oklahoma on leave with another chick. And this chick is over here, "Hey, do you even know if that's yours? I'm like, no, I don't even know if that's mine. I was like, yeah, it's not mine. I need a paternity test, and this chick's feeding me shit, and I know I'm going to get laid with her and didn't use protection with her either. Um, Now I didn't get her pregnant. So, that's not where the story's going, but she, I ended up coming home. I mean, coming back. We talked, and I was like, okay, most likely this kid is my kid. And I was just turned 22. I had this at the age of 22 being a father. No business, no business at all being a father. I could barely function as an adult, even though I'm in the service. I did my job well, I did it great. But as an adult, I could barely function because I think a lot of men and women that go into the military come from probably some broken homes. You know what I mean? They're looking to get out certain situations. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying a lot of us probably do because we look at the military as a way to escape some dysfunction, maybe find some solace in some structure, and two, because we know we don't want to end up like wherever we just came from. We
Right.
want to do something better with our life.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you were just telling my origin story there for a second.
Mhm.
I totally was escaping, from somewhere. Like, I didn't think there was a future, and word for word what you were saying. So you did have that one kid. Is that the only one you've ever had?
No, man, I have 4 kids.
Okay, so
Uh,
the other three were more planned.
Dude, only one kid I had was planned. Only one. My first 3 were not planned.
Oh,
My
all right.
last one was planned.
Yeah.
Yes, so I know the last one was planned. Like, okay, you know, I know I didn't have to pull out for the last one because I was like, shit, we're trying to make this fucking kid. But so I ended up trying to do the right thing, and I took relationship advice from my dad, which that was another mistake. My dad's been divorced 3 times. So relationship advice, no, I'm not giving it. And now I look at myself. I'm not going to give anybody relationship advice because I've been divorced twice. But one thing I'm not afraid of is commitment.
That's true, yeah, for
So
sure.
ladies, if you think that's a negative, I think it's a plus. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's all I'm
so
guilty of, baby. I'm just
yeah,
too committed.
I'm just too committed. so I uh so I marry her, and about 7 months into this marriage, I was like, fuck, I don't know how well this, because we've only known each other 5 months, maybe 6 months at this point. And I was just, well, I guess about 5 months after we got married. And I didn't even think she delivered. She delivered September 12th. And I was just like, what did I get myself into? I'm in trouble because I don't like this chick. But I have this kid, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this kid? Like, this chick is a loose cannon. I can't just leave this kid with her because I have no idea what's going to happen. So, I did grow up faster, but I still had no idea what it was like to be a father because my dad raised me. My mom was never around, but I really never learned how to love because my dad, he loved me, but it was not like a, hug, kissing type of love. It was hard love. It was, hey, put some fucking dirt on it, quit your crying, and get up and do whatever we're doing. It was
Mhm.
not a, oh, hey, it's okay, everything's gonna be all right. Um, it was hard love. So I didn't know how to love. I never had that soft person in my life because my mom was gone since I was 8. So I have this this boy, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to grow up. I don't want you to grow up how I grew up. Well, most of us, I think, revert to how we were raised because it's ingrained in us. And so that's what I did. Guys who are in the military, listen, I am telling you this from knowledge and this isn't a lecture. No fucking PowerPoint's going to tell you to do this, even though they do tell you not to do this through PowerPoint. Do not go out there and get some chick pregnant you do not love unconditionally. And if you're not fit to be in a relationship, don't get in a relationship. Just because you have a kid does not mean you have to marry it. Marry that lady. You don't. Now, use fucking protection. Plain and simple, please. Do us all a favor. Use protection. You know, you know, get your military career going before you really decide to have a kid. And I'm saying wait till you're 30 something before you start having kids. So if I could talk to myself now or from myself now to myself then, I would 100% do it. So I have this kid, and I know this relationship is not going to last, but I'm going to stay in it as long as I can. It matured me, but it didn't really make me into a father. You know, I thought a father was provider and protector, which that's not just being a father. That's two aspects of being a great father. You know, but you need some unconditional love. You need some compassion. You need some sympathy, some empathy. You know, I lacked a lot of that. You know, I went hard on my son. And then adding deployments into it. Now, what people don't quite understand is when we go in through deployments, we're gone. We might see him through Skype. We might see him through, we might be able to talk to him on the phone, or he might just go lengthy times without ever getting to see him or talk to him. And then you come back and you're coming back and you're like, got to be that hard role. Got to be that hard father. Got to be that lesson learning, giving father. That's not right. That's not the right way to be a father when we come back from deployments because they don't know us anymore. The guy they knew is not the same guy that is coming back. It's not that you've changed. It's because they've changed because they've grown up from that 7 months or that 9 months or that 12 months. You know, they're going through changes and you have to adapt to those changes. But I, was learning some of this as I was going. So about 2.5 years into being married and raising my son, I was totally completely done with that relationship. And I was like, I have to get out. Well, she gets pregnant again. Uh, again, commitment. I'm great at commitment.
You're also very fertile.
Yeah, so I think there's something in the water. I think there's like extra fluoride in the water in Oklahoma.
Maybe
I don't know all the fracking. I don't know. You know,
something.
Yeah. So she gets pregnant again, and I just like I'm in my head and my pillow going, "Oh my dear Lord, you're an idiot, Dustin. You are the world's dumbest guy. You have to be. I want you to stop having sex with her." Well, I can't. Okay, because I think most of us in the military, or maybe just most people in general, we have to have sex, man. We're animals. You know what I mean? We are. There is that need. We have to have sex. I'm not going to go outside the relationship. I'm looking for it. But I just, she wasn't on. Oh, she said she was on birth control again. I think it was a trap. She knew we were going down. I mean, that ship was sinking fast. So I was like, well, bury my head in pillow. Here we go. I got my daughter. So my daughter was born in October. As you will see, if you're keeping track and keeping a tally, I know when I'm most sexually active and I'm most fertile. So October, she's born, and I got this little girl, but I'm still lacking a lot of things of actually being a great dad. I'm still lacking the empathy, the sympathy. Now I can see because I'm like, okay, you know what? With her, it's going to be different. Because we always say it's going to be different. Well, motherfucker, you got to change to be different. Not just having the kid is not going to make you change. So I'm holding her, and my grandmother. So being raised in Oklahoma, raised a little bit differently. We were not very culturally diverse in the town I grew up in, or where I was raised. So I told my grandma, that my daughter was going to be named Shaniqua Ashante. And my grandma about fucking flipped. And I was like, nope, because she gave me shit about naming her Dakota. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want to teach you a lesson. So I was like, I want to name her Shaniqua Ashante. And we're at the hospital. My daughter's born, and she like laughs, and I'm dead silent. I'm like, nope, not laughing. And she's like nervously laughing, calls my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, okay, he's joking. You don't have to have a heart attack. And I was like, well, that'll get her to shut up, and never question me on naming my kid again. Because she's like, why do you want to name her Dakota? Because Dakota is a more of a Native American name. And so, and I was like, well, because we like the name. Who gives a shit where it comes from? We love the name. Quit trying to get my kid to change me, get to change my kid's name. This is what we chose, love it or not, because of a name. So, yeah, being in the military put a lot of changed the whole way of me thinking after being in the military and being in the military for 13 and a half years, and then going back to Oklahoma. We can get into that later. Going back to Oklahoma, wide and my eyes open to like, holy crap, this is a different point of view I have in Oklahoma now, living so long out of it. So anyway, my daughter's born. Love this little girl, man. And I'm like, okay, now she's changed me a little bit. She's opened up my heart, chiseled some of that wall away. But I was still lacking as being a father because I wasn't even growing up myself. I was 24 and a half, almost 25, I guess, at this point. And I wasn't still mature enough to really be a father. So after 2.5 years of being married, after my daughter was born, I told my wife, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I absolutely do not love you. There's nothing in me that feels any kind of, I have nothing for you. Thank you for the beautiful kids that we have. I really love that, but we absolutely have to get divorced because I'm not living the rest of my life in this relationship. So we divorced, split up. Actually, we even divorced, split up. You gonna fucking believe this? I 12 hours after I moved out of our place, I met this girl, and it was great. And again, I think this goes back to the military, man, because I don't think we're ever home long enough to really establish a good relationship or a good foundation of a relationship. It's like we always hit this lust stage and then we're just stuck in it. We're just like, oh, yep, lust. And right about time for it to wear off, we're off to a deployment, off to a training, another school. We're doing something else.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah. I got married and, right after I enlisted, and it wasn't for the right reasons, but we knew going in and it wasn't like, an I love you type of thing. We were doing it, for the money because you get paid more. And she was from Taiwan and she was going to have to move back. So, it was convenient, but there was lust there. And then right about the time it was going to wear off, I went to Bosnia and, for 6 months. And then I come back from Bosnia and suddenly like, oh, there's that lust again. And, so it kept us going, like, just like you said, because every time it would start to fade, I'd go to Louisiana or whatever the case may be. And then, just long enough to miss her and want to, get up in that again. And then, I'd be back and it'd start over.
I mean, that's what the military does. They don't ingrain into us, hey, this is how you be in a relationship. Hey, this is how you be a leader. This is how you do your job. They teach us well how to do that. They don't teach us, how to be a father. Because I think, again, going back to the point, I think a lot of us come from a broken home, but we don't know what a true, real relationship looks like. Again, talking to a lot of my brothers and sisters of why they joined the military, like, man, are we all just broken? But broken people, man, make some badasses.
Evidently, yeah.
You don't have to be broken to be badass,
But it helps.
but it helps. uh, and so I have my daughter, and then I met my current ex-wife 12 hours after I move out.
Let me guess.
And
She smelled you and got pregnant.
Yeah.
no, she didn't smell it. She wasn't like, oh shit, new car smell.
For
You know,
Christmas, you impregnated her.
yeah, I have a couple of dings in the doors. You know what I mean? Paint starting to fade. So she's young, but I didn't know at the time how young she was because she acted older than I was, and I was 25, and she's acting or 25, 26, no, 27 at the time. Uh, she's acting older than I was. And so I was like, hey, this ain't gonna last anyway. So she told me her age, and she was 18 years old. I was like, holy shit, no fucking way this is gonna last. Well, she just kept showing me up as like, hey, look how mature I am. I'm like, God dang, how is this young chick more mature than I am? And we fell in love. I absolutely love this girl. I changed the way I was thinking, changed the way I was doing things. Um, she actually chiseled away into my heart, which nobody's ever done that, ever. No friend, no family member, nothing, nobody. And I can truly tell you that I loved this woman. Well, 11 months into it, she gets pregnant right before I'm leaving for Afghanistan. And I'm like, fuck. All right, you know what? I'm going to man up and we're going to get married. So we got married, went down to the courthouse. It was 420 when we got married. There was no correlation of doing drugs and our original marriage date. It just happened to be 420. I wasn't thinking it till after we got married, and we were like, "Oh, hey, 420." I'm like, that means something else. um, so we ended up getting married. Had a great, relationship. She treated me like a king. I tried to treat her like a queen, how I knew how to treat somebody. But I was still lacking a lot of things that I needed to be a father and a husband. So while I was gone, she was, packages. She's pregnant, and 5 days into landing in Afghanistan, she gives birth to my second daughter, my youngest daughter. And I already knew this deployment was going to be a long one. I knew it was going to be around 9-10 months because they didn't have anybody else trained up, and it's going to take a while for us to get um, replaced. So, and what I did, I flew drones for special forces. So I go out with the teams or whoever they wanted me to go out with. But it was JSOC who I was attached to, Joint Special Operations Command, and they I was out with the SEAL teams first bit,
Oh, here.
and you know, I I look back at it and I'm like, what in the fuck are they doing? Sending us because I mean, Army guys, they go through a lot of training. Marines go through a lot of training. Navy goes through training how to put out a fire on a ship or their job. They don't train you to go to combat unless you're Navy SEAL. So I had this, they call it IA training. And it was like, I think a week long or something like that. It was ridiculous. Like 2 hours of convoy training, which uh, I don't know how much the Marines or the Army get, but I know they get more than 2 hours of convoy training. They
Yeah.
do some simulator
I got
rollovers.
days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Right, guys? I mean, that's exactly what it is. So they put me out there with these guys, and I tell this story because it's funny, and I actually tell it now to uh, use it in business. Hey, you can use it whatever you want to. You can use it in fatherhood. But first time on the helo, stick is on the helo. There's a shitload of SEALs on there. I'm sitting between these guys' lap, and they shoot flares out. And it's like day, I don't even know, like 6 or 7 in theater. And I'm like, oh God, this is how I die. I clench my ass cheeks so tight. The guy behind me, I say whisper, but you're not whispering in a helo, yells out, hey, can you do that again? And I'm laughing, I'm chuckling like, oh my God. Oh my God. He knows. He just got, somebody just fresh off of wherever. And these guys don't know me for lick. I've never met these guys until we get on that helo. And there's not a conversation had. There's nothing. I'm sitting between this dude's legs. We got an interpreter strung across us. And these guys start doing some hand signs, like I think they're like throwing up gang signs. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, I miss this course in IA school. What are these? And so they open this door, man. They throw this interpreter out on the ground and they get out and they take a position. Well, so do I, naturally. Like, I'm just like, all right, I played Call of Duty. I don't know how to do this. So I get out and I realize I don't have a magazine in my M4.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, like, did anybody see that? Because I'm not shooting back. You can use it as a baseball bat to beat somebody if they're close enough. So I'm that guy. So they get us down. Boom, move on. So I tell that story for one, because you have to be prepared for the situations you're in. Preparedness is key. You can take this into fatherhood. If you know you're going to be a father and there's some things that you need to work on, man, you got 9 months. You got 9 months to start working on that. Preparation is key. I knew I was going out with these guys, not 9 months, but a few months before. I could have done something a few months before. I could have requested more training. I've could have so much things I could have done to prepare myself for war, but I was just thrown into this. And here I am, getting off the freaking helo, first time meeting these guys with an empty M4. So preparedness is key. Same thing for business, guys. Preparedness is key. If you know you're going to open a business, you're going to do it in 9 months. 8 months, 28 days to start really looking into business classes or businesses. You're not prepared, man. You've got to be prepared. Same thing with fatherhood. I wish I had somebody. I wish my dad would have told me, like, dude, you have 9 months to prepare to be a father. I don't think you're ready. If he would have been straight and real with me, that would have probably set a lot of things up a lot differently, because I could have taken that and saying, okay, I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm not ready. What can I do? I could have done a lot of things differently. Another thing I talk about is being present. Just because you have kids, that's just not equating you to be a father. You have to be a present father. And I can go back and look. And one of the things that tears me up inside is I was not a present father. I was providing, I was protecting, but I wasn't present. I relied on my wives to be present and me to do what the fuck I wanted to do, because I was making the money. I was working the jobs. So in my mind, I could go do whatever I wanted to do. And I did a disservice to my kids. And it took a while in my 30s to realize I have to be present to raise functional human beings who are going to do something for the society besides just being dirtbags. It takes two. Guys, we need a mother and we need a father to raise these kids, and we need both of them to be present. What I didn't realize with my first two kids is my ex-wife wasn't really present. So now we have these young kids who have two parents that do love them, but weren't present. And when I reflect and I go back on that, it hurts. It hurts a lot, because there's a lot of things I could have done different. I could have practiced with my kids with sports. I could have taken them fishing. I could have taken them hunting. But instead, I did that shit without them, because I felt like, oh, I work all the time. I need this time off. I need this for me. I wasn't mature enough to really realize that. Wasn't till my son was born. My fourth kid, and I realized what I was doing. By then, my other three kids, well, two oldest ones really, have kind of set in their ways. And one thing I didn't know, they were dealing with a drug addict mother on the other end. So as I was trying to be present, a lot of things from them growing up with their mother being a drug addict started surfacing, and I didn't know how to handle that. So I tried to get help. I went to counseling, took my kids to counseling. My oldest son wouldn't go, just flat out wouldn't go, and he's about the size of me. So getting him to go was really not an option. He's just like, nah, no, I'm not going to go. And he was big. He was a big stocky kid. I mean, even at the age of 13, 14. One thing I did learn is technology, guys, gals, do not do not let your kids be raised by technology, because that is the devil. Not trying to get into politics, but or anything else, and I'm not going to, but technology, if you're letting your kids being raised by YouTube, TikTok, wow, we are creating kids with mental illnesses. So while I was deployed, I was thankfully enough, I had a sat phone. So I had my own sat phone. So I could call back and forth whenever I wanted to. Uh, Connection was here and there. I mean, being out in the middle of Afghanistan, you're not getting Cox internet. So you're barely maybe get a Skype or two in until I got back to the hub. Then I would Skype. And that's how I got to see my daughter kind of growing up. First time I got to see her, she was 7 months, 7 months old. So she was crawling almost. Yeah, just started to learn how to crawl. And I was just baffled by by her. And I was just, but here's the thing, I was on R&R. So I knew I could not get out of this mindset and relax, because I knew I was going right back into combat. So I had 2 weeks to rest and relax. Um, it was just really being kind of there with my family. I couldn't even tell you really what I did on R&R. I know we went to a few places, but I could not actually tell you if we went to SeaWorld, Knott's Berry Farm, anything like that. She tells me, but I couldn't tell you. We spent time together. We went and did some things. But again, I just couldn't remember what we even did, because I was in this state of like, nope, I can't get out of that zone, because I'm going to be right back into that zone. So R&R didn't really do anything for me. Went right back. And then it wasn't until after my daughter's first birthday, what was it? 26, I think, is when I came back, when I finally got back. So not only missed most of her pregnancy, but also missed, the whole first really year of her, growing up. So my daughter didn't really even know who I was. So it was interesting. She knew who I was. I mean, my wife at the time did a fantastic job, and she's a fantastic lady. She did very well. She had pictures of me. She would read to her. She would send me out these. Uh, maybe you guys know these Daddy Me books, or Mommy and Me books. They would send to deployed people, and you could record your voice,
Hmm.
And reading the book.
Yeah.
I have one with like it looks like me, but I'm not my voice.
No, yeah, it was something the USO did.
I feel like I have I definitely have a delay. Do I have a delay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a delay.
I have a delay. Okay. So I'm going to talk less to minimize that. And I'm gonna let Dan kind of be the host. So
All right.
we're gonna go we'll go like a little bit longer, and then Dan, you kick it into promotional time. And then because we like to save the last little bit for the guests to promote whatever they got going on. And then a little bit after that, just kick it into your dad joke. and hopefully my delay catches up or goes away, or I don't know why it's here. It did it with Sam too, so I don't know what's causing it, but hopefully it fixes itself. But with that, I'm going to kind of step back, and be more of a watcher.
Right on.
So good luck, Dan.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah, I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Just listening to you talk and stuff. In general, I wasn't in the military, but my dad was, so I kind of come from that kind of household. Obviously, I have tremendous respect for every military member, no matter what their job is, because it's all important. And thank you for your service. I just wanted to know, was your dad in the military, or did you have any family that pushed you, quote unquote, in the military, or is that something you did just like on your own?
Yeah, so most of my family served. Both my grandfathers did. My dad didn't serve. He was about to get selected for Vietnam, and then they ended the war. So thank God. But he didn't serve. So it was really a way out. So I really had only three options. Dropping out of high school just doesn't. It does something for you. I got my GED. So right away, I got my GED. I was like, all right, I have to have that to get in the military.
Right.
I either had to work the family ranch, family construction business, or go work for my uncle who owned an electrical company. I hated the trades. I really didn't like them. I don't know why, because it's a really good skill set. So it just wasn't for me. Even though later in life I did own a construction business. So inevitably I followed in the footsteps of my dad again. But yeah, my dad didn't serve, but my grandfathers did serve, and every grandfather, great grandfather after that served.
Right on.
Yeah. It was so he wasn't pushing me into the military. He's just kind of saying, hey, figure that you got 30 days to figure your shit out. And then once I told him to go to the military, he was like, okay, maybe I'll give you a little bit longer. So it wasn't that big of a deal because I was going in the military. Now he said if I didn't go in the military, the day he finds out, he's kicking my ass out. So yeah.
Right on. Yeah, my dad didn't. He's told me, he's like, that's an option. If you want to do it, I'll stand by you, and if you don't, I'll stand behind you. Like I'm not going to push you because you'll run away from it. I've been tried to, people have tried to push me into doing things, and it just doesn't. I run from it. So, which is, to me, that's just human nature. So he laid it out. He's like, that's an option. You can do that. You can go to work. You can go to college. Whatever you want to do, and I'll I'm behind you 100%. So it was an option. I just, not the option I wanted to take. So but yeah, my dad served. I have cousins that served. My grandfather on my mom's side, he was in World War II in the Navy. So yeah, I come from some military family, but yeah, that's good. I hate it when parents, not just with the military, but like with sports or music or anything. I hate it when they like, hey, I did this, you have to do it no matter what. Like, no, let your kids figure out, give them the influence. And like my dad did, and I'm sure like your family did, like, hey, it's an option, but you do what you want to, kind of, so to speak. So,
exactly. That's how I am now. Like, I'm not like,
yeah.
oh, you're playing football, you're boxing.
Yeah. Right.
No. Hey, what do you want to do? Like,
Yeah.
what appeals to you?
Yeah.
My son said water polo, and I'm like, what? I'm like, sweet. Okay,
Hey.
cool.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm like, you want to do water polo? Well, he's 9 years old. So today, actually, I had a proud father moment today. And someone might shake your head, which, hey, raise your kids, man, how you see fit. So we went snorkeling, and it was a little bit rougher seas getting in. And I was like, hey, you know what? Calm seas never made a skilled sailor, man. So I'm teaching this, my son, my youngest son, this lesson now. And I was like, you look at this, and it's a challenge. I go, we can do two things. We can accept the challenge, or we can go away and say, you know what, let's just go till a calmer day. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you.
Right.
He flip back and forth. No. He cried a little bit, and I was like, hey, we don't have to do this. He's like, no, I want to do this. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I was like, all we have to do, jump in. Right as we get in, we wait for a wave to hit and just let it pull us right on out. Okay. It's going to pull us a little bit. We're just going to dip down into the water. And then once we get past the break, we'll swim past the break and we'll put our fins on. We're good. You're good. So he does. And we had a blast snorkeling. And we're in San Diego. So there's leopard sharks. And I was hoping to see some dolphins. People saw some dolphins. So, I wanted to go, pet flipper. And, just trying to get out there with him. And he's just loving it. So I'm like, yeah, man, let's do this. Let's do this. And we get out and kind of wash off and made sandwiches. And all of a sudden, into this beach, we just see a bunch of people, just a ton of people. He's like, let's go check it out. I was like, all right, let's go check it out, man. So we go down there and I see all these like yellow towels. And I asked somebody who was walking opposite direction, hey, what's going on? They're like, this is a college freshman introduction party. And I told my son, I was like, look, we can turn back now, or we can go down there and go check this out. He's like, no, let's go check this thing out. But there's no alcohol on the beach, so it doesn't get crazy. Now people bring alcohol, and just, hide it. But we walked down there and I'm kind of being hesitant. I'm like, all right, so I told him, hey, this is a college party. So this is your first introduction of what kind of college looks like. And he's like, all right. He's walking down there. All of a sudden he hears the music. He just starts like doing this. And I'm like, all right, man, he's into it. I'm like, I'm sweet. Let's roll. Let's do this. He gets up there and they have some people on this little ledge that's like 10 feet above everybody else. And they're up there doing a dance video or dance, whatever, but nothing crazy. Just do some dance moves and, like hip hop or whatever. And he's like, hey, I want to go dance. I was like, all right, man, go dance. Where are you going to go dance? He's like, I'm going to the front. I'm like, he's 9 years old. I'm like, go ahead, go to the front, man, go dance. So he did. And they're all just like showing him how different dance moves. So nothing too crazy. We're not in a club, no club dancing, girls shaking booties, twerking, nothing like that. So he gets up there, he starts dancing. And I'm over here, hell yeah. One, a 9-year-old boy to go up there in front of everybody and start dancing. I'm like, dude, I love that confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And then after, he sees these guys doing push-ups. And he's like, Dad, can I go? I was like, yeah, sure, man. Go drop in on him. So he did. He was right next, started doing push-ups. I was like, all right. They're like, oh, heck yeah. He's like the little party guy at the thing. We were only there for about 30 minutes. Because I was like, awesome. All right, this is enough. Let's get you out of here. On the way out, he starts trying to hit on these 4 girls. Picks them up, and he's like, hey, Dad, I'm going to go talk to those girls. I was like, all right, well, what are you going to say? He's like, I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get there. So he goes up. I was like, fine. I was like, but me being Dad, I was like, yeah, you know what? I have to video this because I have to have proof because nobody else is think it's happening. And this new lingo these days, they call it rizzing. You guys ever heard of this? Rizzing?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
My kids are trying to bring me up to speed on all that stuff. If you got Riz, that's supposed to mean you have charisma or swag or whatever.
That's exactly what it is. You have charisma or swag, and at 9 years old, I'm like, what kind of Riz do you have? Like, seriously, or any of these kids talking about Riz. So my kids and my friends' kids talk about this. And at first I heard about a month ago. And if you hear kids talk, they are having a conversation, but it seems like this one's having a different conversation than this one. And it doesn't make any kind of sense with these new lingos and languages. So I'm over here listening and I asked them, hey, what's Riz? And they're like, oh, it's, picking people up or charisma. They didn't say charisma or swagger, but that's exactly what it means. As they're explaining it to me. So he goes and, so he has some Riz, man. So that's wild. So now as a father, I'm looking at him like, all right, I got trouble on my hands. I got me at 9 years old. I'm like, oh my God. And so now I'm going to have to somehow, which I'll probably need a book, because I didn't get to talk to my oldest son. I do now, and I could get into a little bit. But now I am going to have to tell him like, hey, dude, you really got to keep that thing wrapped up until you're ready. Like, seriously, take it from somebody who's had 4 kids and 3 of them were not planned. You need to keep it wrapped up. So hopefully that's later in life, not earlier in life. But the confidence that he has, and he's actually coming, he gets made fun of at school a little bit because he has a cleft palate. So he has that scar right here, and one of his nostrils isn't, shaped like the other one. It's not symmetrical, and some kids are giving him some shit. And so I taught him to, one, deflect it. And when somebody says something, be like, or if they're making fun of you, make fun of your looks and be like, hey, I get it, man. You want to make fun of somebody who is more sexy than you. So I understand, and I always build him up. Hey, man, you're my handsome little guy. Hey, what? Oh, dude, look at this picture. You're such a handsome guy in this picture. Look at this, and doesn't matter the angle. Don't get his good side, because that's all he's going to see. Every angle of this kid, man, get every angle of it. And every angle is his handsome side, build his confidence up. So that's what me and his mother are on the same page of trying to do for the last year, or last 6 months, I guess. Build his confidence up because of people in school or, trying to break him down. So seeing him going and putting himself in front of college kids and dancing, and no shit dancing. He was dancing. He was following along with the moves, the whole 9 yards. And then going up and saying, hey, I want to go talk to these chicks who are 10, 12, 13 years older than him. I was like, all right, man. All right. We're doing the right thing. Now I just hope I don't give him too much confidence, and that head is just, huge. And having kids, man, when I go back to TikTok and Instagram, YouTube, social media, Snapchat, guys, your kids have fucking Snapchat. Get them away from that right there. I can't. You understand there's drug dealers on Snapchat? That is the wildest damn thing I've ever seen in my life.
They do it over video game subscriptions too, like on PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. They can hook up and meet their 5-minute friends or their dealers and make transactions that way too.
See, I mean, it's bizarre.
Yeah,
how this stuff happens, man. I mean, anything social media. It's and not only that, but it's caused a huge mental health crisis and a confidence issue with our young women, with our daughters.
everybody's just so ruthless because they're behind a keyboard and they can hide, and they're not going to be worried. Like, I know I'm probably the youngest one out of the 4 of us here, but even when I grew up, if you smarted off to the wrong person, they'd knock your teeth down your throat. And now kids and even adults don't have to deal with that because they can hide behind their keyboard and their screen and get away with it. So it's just so toxic. Like, I have, we all have social media, but I try to find the good in it, and it's hard to find some days,
Oh, 100%.
And what social media doesn't teach them? It doesn't teach them class, doesn't teach them manners, and it doesn't teach them how to treat other people. And that's something that's going to be like a systemic problem with some of these younger kids and some of these younger generations, is because their parents are either letting them get raised by technology, or they're just not making that disconnect to show them that, hey, this is how you need to treat people in real life. Don't go off of what you see off of a social media trend and follow that. Is how you're supposed to interact with people or treat people, from day to day. It's just it's setting them up for failure.
Yeah,
big time. I mean, you can't. These influencers is just, it's scary how much influence they have over our kids, man. And you turn the cameras off, man, probably most of those people's lives are just a wreck. And so I try to teach them there's value in having social media, because you can interact with people you'll never otherwise meet, but you can't just interact with anybody. Now, I try to keep tabs on their phones and all that stuff, which is hard because unless you're in tech, they are out teching us.
Yeah.
They know the newest, latest, and greatest because they are tapped into the greatest network. These young kids who have learned to hide. So and they're learning. Good. And just like he was saying about PlayStation Network, I had no idea PlayStation Network was another avenue for drug dealers. And I learned this the hard way with my oldest daughter with Snapchat. And my oldest son got addicted to drugs. And I tried to do everything for him. He was senior, went to senior year, had a 4.3 GPA. And by Christmas, he didn't even make it to Christmas. He he had a point like 1 or something. I don't even know if he just not even a 1, not even 2.0, not even 1.3. It was like a 0.5 or 7. And I ultimately had to kick him out because he had a drug problem and would not go to rehab. And again, I know, I just trying to be there as a father. And I still talk to him. I still take him out. I still try to be that father, figure to him. But I lost that edge the moment I kicked him out because of I think he needs a needs that hard knuckle lesson of hard life lesson of like, hey, dude, you've got to hit rock bottom before you get picked back up, and your rock bottom is not tearing this family apart. Sorry, buddy, that's not how it is. So I had to do some real tough love with him. And I still try to I'd still try to take him out like, hey man, let's talk. What are you doing? What do you need help with? He doesn't understand. I can get him a job making $100,000 right now if he wanted it. But there's no way in hell I'm putting my ass on the line because he has quit every damn job he's had. So that right there has been tough. And when I say TikTok, YouTube, Discord, these programs, the internet, the computer, you got to get them off of it. We got to get them outside the house and doing something. I'm not saying going outside doing sports. That's a great thing to do. But outside doing something, whether it's surfing, walking, hiking, got to get them off the technology for an extended period of time. I also thought I was parenting the right way by, hey, you guys, the only time I'm checking your grades is progress report and report card. If it ain't up to snuff, well, that's your ass. Don't do that no more. Now I'm not a helicopter, but I'm like, hey, I noticed your grades slipping. What's up? How can I help you? I'm here. Hey, what do you need help with? You need help with math? Hey, I'm here. Being that present father, being present. If you don't hear that clear enough, I'm saying present.
Oh, we harp on it all the time. That's one of the, like when you were talking about, you had 3 points that you were making about, it was the 3 P's is what I was thinking in my head. But I can't remember the other 2 right now, but being present is it is really important because if you're not going to teach them the right way, they're going to learn the wrong way from their friends or the internet or something else. So I would rather teach them what I feel is the right way in my head and from my experience than have them turn out like little assholes and be entitled and, not be a benefit to society.
Yeah, that's exactly 100% it. Also, if you're having the significant other or their mother or their father have an addiction issue, you better take very cognizant and very, very clearly start looking at how much influence they really have. Because usually when they're beneath the influence, they're not being a parent, they're being a friend. That's another thing is my oldest daughter decided to go live with her mother and grandparents because my rules are too tough, which my rules are not tough at all. That was very easy. Hey, do your chores, get good grades. Don't fucking lie to me. That's the quickest way of getting, in trouble is lying to me because I will find out. Mm-hmm. And she just couldn't stop, not lying. And she also couldn't stop smoking pot at 15 years old. Mm. And I just I can harp on. I can talk about this for hours. We're losing the war on drugs. With our young ones. I don't know about you guys and where you live, but they have legalized marijuana in California and probably I think most of the states now by now, because usually once California goes, New York goes, and then it's just a you know rolling rolling down the hill after that. Um, One thing they promised, oh, we can make sure it doesn't get in the hands of young people. Well, there was a kid at not at the high school that my kid went to, but the opposite high school in town. It was a chick, and this chick in high school was making $2,000 a day selling weed,
Damn.
vape pens in high school. $2,000 a day.
Wow.
I mean, and they didn't catch her until she'd been doing it for like 7-8 months.
Wow.
$2,000 a day. The DEA was involved.
Damn.
And she was going to Mexico and bringing it back.
Wow.
I mean, talk
It's
about
incredible.
wow.
Yeah.
It was shocking. You know, when that report finally came out, it was like, wow.
Damn.
Yeah. If you go talk to your school resource officers, you know, I love law enforcement. I'm a big component for law enforcement. I love the men and women out there that keep us safe. But damn, they have just given up. They're like, what do we do? You know, 97% have drugs. Like, what do we do? I'm like, yeah, what do we do? Maybe that's a different podcast, man. We need to how do we stop it? How do we stop that
right
drug? So I told my daughter, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure say no to drugs, just like Dare. You know what I mean? Just say no to drugs, and I'm gonna wear it, and I'm gonna start holding the sign out front of your high school. I'm gonna start holding that sign where they hang out at Starbucks and Subway. And you know what? I'm not doing this to embarrass you. What I'm doing this for is to make sure that whoever is giving you those drugs go, I'm not giving to your dad because he's nuts. You know, he will make sure I go to jail. I didn't end up doing it because she threw a huge stink, and I was like, all right, I get it. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want you to get beat up at school, because that's another huge thing going on. So yeah, man. So I got two kids, man, that just I wasn't being present. So guys, learn from my lesson. You know, be present. I think if I was a lot more present in their life, as far as not just providing, not just protecting.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Providing, protecting, and presence.
Yep. Provide, protect, and be present.
The 3 Ps.
The 3 Ps, man. I knew when you said it, I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You have to be present. I mean, providing's great, protecting's awesome. Being present's the most important, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can let the little bit of these two go because you can have less, maybe be a little less protective if you're not in the means or the know-how. But then being present, man, is going to set your kids up a lot farther, you know, down the road. So it was a hard lesson for me. Now my two kids, my two younger ones, hard and present, man. I'm hard and present. I'm like, all right, man, my son plays baseball. I'm like, all right, let's go out there, man. Let's show you how to stance. Let's do this. Everything. What do you want to do? He's like, water polo. I was like, sweet, man. I'm on my phone, like, water polo, San Diego. Okay, here we go. All right. He's like, yeah, I also want to be a junior lifeguard. We're like, all right, junior lifeguard. Put that on the list. Okay. What does that look like? But he's an aspiring marine biologist. So, you know, and he is dead set on it and he wants to do it. And I'm like, all right, how can I make him get there? How can I set him up for success? Well, let's not wait till he's 20 to start scuba diving. Let's start doing it at 10. Hey, you know what? What can we do before 10? We can snorkel. Hey, let's go check out the sharks in the water before we even, you know, get down there on the bottom. So now I'm building that comfort. I'm building that confidence in him.
That's a good crawl, walk, run strategy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So he is absolutely loving it.
Are any of your kids interested in your business endeavors or anything like that? Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. So my business endeavors.
I see you're wearing that red, white, and badass shirt.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
All right. So how I got into this, I alluded that I owned a construction business, and I will shorten the story greatly. I had a business partner, went south, and that business cost me. So I ended up, he ended up taking a lot of money out of that company and making it um, insolvent. And I tried my damnedest to get it back, but it was construction, and I didn't love it. I really hated it, and I resented it because I felt like I was following my father's footsteps, and I never loved construction. I just fell into it. Out here in California, there's a program called DVBE, Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise. And if you're into construction and hold a construction license, there is 3% of state and federal jobs that they have. Their goal is to use disabled, excuse me, disabled veterans businesses on. Great,
So it's all businesses, not just the construction industry or the construction
it's
component,
mainly aimed at construction.
or
It's
trade.
not all business. Yeah. So if you're like a knitting business, yeah, good luck. You know,
Right.
now, if there's some thing they need for the federal or state government for that, yeah, you could get that. There might be that niche for you, but it's mainly aimed at construction and service-based businesses. So, so I fell into it, and I was very good at doing it. Just became really good at doing it. I don't know if it's just our, heritage of we just builders. I'd have no idea, man. But just became really good at it, really good at business. And then that happened. Closed that business down. I opened up another business cleaning solar panels. Now, I will tell you this: I didn't have any real skill in the construction trades. Yeah, my dad owned a construction business. That doesn't mean I was a master construction guy. It doesn't mean I have the skills. I did not have the skills. I opened a freaking business and learned the skills. So if I can learn it, anybody can learn it, because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed by any stretch of the imagination. Then I opened after that went south, I opened a solar cleaning business. Built my trailer, put all the equipment on it. Again, folks, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I just heard about this buddy who did it, and I was like, all right, well, it can't be that hard, and got into it. Because I'm a hustler and I'm a networker, quickly built a book of business. Then I ended up getting skin cancer. So I was the dermatologist looked at me and said, "You probably shouldn't be doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably freaking right." So I was just going to close it down. I mean, it was 6 months, nothing crazy. And then I got approached by two people. So they ended up cutting it out of my back at two spots. They still ended up, I still ended up running it. And I found a guy who cleaned solar panels, but just wasn't a business guy. He was just a worker. So I was like, "Hey, you go clean the panels, I'll pay you." And we did that for about a month. And then I got approached by two people to buy the business, and ended up selling to another veteran. So ended up selling that. So I was sitting at my computer, scratching my head, going, "What in the hell am I going to do next?" And I was drinking a $6 cup of Starbucks. And I got this epiphany that I think I can make better coffee than Starbucks. And I do. So, and I knew nothing about roasting. I knew nothing about coffee. I didn't know nothing about growing coffee. I didn't plant coffee. I didn't grow coffee. Didn't know anything about coffee other than, hey, I want a dark roast, or I want this roast, or I want pumpkin spice coffee. That's all I know.
Pumpkin spice.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started, man. I got videos of me doing stupid shit with pumpkin spice. So, yeah, I love pumpkin spice, man. I don't have any pumpkin spice coffee yet. I didn't make any this season, so
Boo.
I know. Still, if you go to my website, which is redwhiteandbadassbrew.com, I have great coffee minus the pumpkin spice. But that's how I got into the coffee business, man. Just by, I wouldn't say failing. I like failing, and people don't understand why. Now, I don't like failing at being a father, because that's, messing with life. Business, you can always start another one.
Failures could teach you something if you pay attention enough.
That's exactly it, man. My man Samuel, dude, you have hit, the nail on the head with that one, man. Failing will teach you something. If you never try, you'll never fail. You'll never get a lesson taught to you, which is fine. I would rather try and fail than not try at all, because I can live with a failure. Not trying, no way. So yeah, man, that's how I got in the coffee business. That's it. So red, white, and
PayPal.
Yeah, well, so it wasn't actually Red, White, and Badass Brew to begin with, man. So I am great at service-based businesses, is what I found out. You go to e-commerce, you want to talk about a monster. E-commerce is a monster to try to get off the ground. I don't know if you guys are in business or have an e-commerce store, but dang, it is a difficult thing to do. And because you have to have social media, you have to be active on social media, you have to get known. Brand awareness is huge. So I wasn't called Red, White, and Badass Brew initially. I was called Basic Badass Coffee Company. I was called Basic Badass Coffee Company because I like pumpkin spice. So all my friends would call me Basic Bitch. And so I developed this persona. I was like, they posted something on Facebook of like, oh, haha, Dustin, you basic bitch, and tagged me in it. And I was like, these guys, like, oh yeah, you think you're getting one up on me? Yeah, not today. Watch this. And I went to TJ Maxx, and they just happened to have like 10 different pumpkin spice things. And so I gathered it all up and I bought it all. I was like, yeah, it was like pumpkin spice, like things you stick in coffee, to popcorn, to God, who candles. I mean, God, who knows? It was just ridiculous how much pumpkin spice stuff was there.
Is that where you got the idea for the coffee conversations and badasses?
No. That came later in life. So I made this video and I was like, hey, this is a basic badass here. And I'm just like shoveling this shit in my mouth, eating it. Like it was stupid. It was so completely stupid. And I tagged them in it and I put it on Facebook. But anyway, it got like 500 or 600 likes or views or something like that. And I'm like, who in the world is looking at this crap? Well, then I made another one and I made another one. And I made another one. And I just kind of stopped making them because I was like, this is ridiculous. One, I'm too old to be doing this. Which to this day, I'm still a man child. And I didn't think anybody was really like looking at them because they get 500-600 views, or I got one that got 2,500 or 3,000, which, hey, that's going viral for me. Like, I'm cool with that. Well, then I stopped doing them, and then people said, hey, you need to keep doing those videos. I was like, oh my God, really? What you really like those? They're like, dude, they're funny as shit. And I found Starbucks secret sauce. You'd have to go look at one of my videos to find out what it is.
The dog shit in the yard.
Yep, that's the dog shit in the yard. Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, Samuel, you're on your game, man. So yeah, started the coffee company. I ended up getting sued. Not sued, but a cease and desist letter. I know. Well, I'm used to lawsuits by now, man. I'm like, what? Somebody suing me? Like, lawyer, here, take it. Who gives a shit? What do they want? Coffee wasn't good enough. No, I've never been sued in the coffee business other than that one. And it was not basic, Badass Coffee of Hawaii. And they sent me a cease and desist letter because I'm using Basic Badass Coffee Company, and they're like Badass Coffee Company of Hawaii or some shit like that. And my first inclination was like, oh, hold on, let me Xerox my ass and put some lips on and say, fucking kiss it. And send it right back to them. But then I thought about it, and I was like,
pumpkin in the corner of it.
Yeah, with that, but yeah, I do have a shirt with. You might have seen it. It had a pumpkin, a tattoo of a pumpkin on it, because I was like, I want to represent pumpkin spice year round. So,
oh my God,
yeah. So anyway, I didn't send it off to him. I was like, you know what, you're right. That was kind of closer to the name. Cool. You know what? So I changed it, and I got Red, White, and Badass Brew. I was like, thank you for sending me a letter, man. You created the most badass coffee company that this world is ever gonna know. So
inspiration comes in weird ways sometimes.
Right. Thank you for changing my mind. So yeah, Red, White, Badass Brew was born, and but the reason why we started Coffee Conversations and Badasses podcast was because of my story. So I didn't get into the dark of the story. So as my construction business was closing down, I was getting lawsuits left and right. Same time, I opened up that soil clean business and skin cancer. The most jacked up thing is I couldn't even have time to think about skin cancer. I was like, shit, okay, if you kill me, I'll probably beat you to it. So stand in line. But I mean, it was just lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits. And we're not talking about, 10,000, 5,000. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now I'm lurking on bankruptcy and losing my house. And now my son, and this whole time that I was dealing with this bad business, my son was going down this path, this dark, deep path. Well, I'm going down this dark, deep path. I don't have anybody else to focus on. But the last 3 years prior to that, I was raising my kids pretty much 100% on my own because their mother was out being a drug addict. So my son, I'm having this real conversation with. I'm losing the battle within myself. God was putting too much on my shoulders, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I didn't let anybody else in. Very few people knew everything that was going on with me. Then my oldest daughter tried to commit suicide, and I found her in the morning, and got her to the hospital. Thank God she lived without any adverse reactions of, she took like 400 like ibuprofen or Tylenol or something like that. Broke my heart. And I had enough. I was done with my life. I was a lousy father, just a terrible partner, and I just couldn't catch a break in life. So I was going to commit suicide. I wrote 5 letters to the 5 most important people to me. And the day that I was going to do it, I went over to one of my buddy's house and talked to him. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? And at the end, he didn't know I was in that realm yet. In the conversation, I told him, hey man, great to know you, dude. I love you, man. And he's very present in his thoughts. And he looks at me like, what the hell do you mean by that? And I said, I just couldn't do this shit anymore. And he gave me clarity. And I was like, hey, what's one thing you look forward to? And I was like, nothing, dude, nothing, man. I don't look forward to anything, dude. I actually just wish I'd die in my sleep. I don't even want to wake up. He goes, well, when you wake up, what do you look forward to? I was like, well, my coffee in the morning. That's one thing I can look forward to. I know it's consistent. So I did. So really, coffee ended up really saving my life because it gave me that motivation every single morning. Hey, wake up, have some of that badass coffee, drink it. And then every morning he would check in on me. Hey, shot a text. Started looking a little less bleak. Inevitably, I went down another dark, deep path when I found out I was losing my house and almost took my life. This time I didn't write any letters. I didn't write any letters, didn't tell anybody, didn't go talk to nobody. Took some oxycodone and grabbed my gun, fortified my house up, shut all the lights off, and called not my 2 oldest kids, but my 2 younger kids. And, just told them, hey, just talk to them for a bit and tell them I love you. And my oldest daughter is very in tune with herself. And she went to her mom and goes, hey, something's not right with dad. And she ended up coming over to my house, couldn't get in, fortified, blacked out, all the curtains were shut. And she went home, messaged my best friend who saved my ass. And was like, hey, something's up with Dustin. But he comes over to my house. My neighbor is a cop. And when he does, he was coming over there checking the doors, trying to get in. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? And my neighbor didn't know him. He's like, hey, there's just trying to check on Dustin. He's not answering his phone. His ex and his daughter's worried about him. Ended up, they saw me in bed. I was slumped over, gun in my hand. They ended up calling the police, doing a welfare check. Police come. By this time, they were shining a fucking floodlight in my eyes, and I just ended up waking up. woke up, went to the door, groggy as fuck, still the gun in my hand. And he's like, hey, police are here. And he's like, go, dude, put your gun away. My safe was open, put my gun away. Cops came, answered all the questions. Oh, no, I'm okay. Just a bad time, da da da. They're like, okay, well, he's not 5150. So my best friend laid down with me. I went back to sleep because it was fucking oxycodones. Went back to sleep. Next morning, he's like, hey, dude, we're getting you help. And I was like, yep, we are, because I will not be living longer if I don't. So that's when that's not when the Coffee Conversation the Badass was born, but my story was the inspiration of creating it, because it focuses on mental health, addiction, relationships, and business struggles. Encompasses all that, because of what we go through mentally is going to affect our relationships. It's going to affect your business.
Absolutely.
If you have an addiction issue, it's going to affect your mental health. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect your business. If you're having business struggles, it's going to affect your mental health. It's going to affect your relationships, and hopefully it doesn't cause addictions.
Hopefully
same thing
it
with a
doesn't
relationship.
cost somebody a life.
And that's why we do the podcast, is hoping somebody will listen to the stories that we have on there. Save somebody's lives.
Unfortunately, due to some time constraints, we're kind of going to have to, maybe call it a night. At least I'm going to have to bow out. For that, we were talking about the 3 Ps earlier.
Yeah.
Being present, and it's going to be one of them. I've got my kids downstairs waiting for me to finish wrapping up dinner, so I'm going to have to kind of excuse myself here in just a second and everything. Would you be gracious enough, or would you be willing enough to come back on the show again and speak with us again? You've got a lot of great information and a lot of really good stories to tell, and we would really be eager and really be love to have you back on again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's great. That's great. Corey's usually he's the hub. We funnel a lot of the information and the invites and the scheduling over towards him. And if you, like I said, if you'd be willing to come back on the show again, we can do a part 2 and we can extend this conversation out. And you've given us so much material, and we'd love to make some reels, and really would love to kind of, catch up with you again and keep this conversation going. And even maybe, be a part, or try to jump in on that podcast that you've got there with the Coffee and Conversations at some point.
Yeah,
If you're
absolutely.
interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great, awesome.
Yeah,
Like I said, Corey,
you got to be
still
present,
having a
man.
laugh?
I get that, man.
Yeah.
Daddy's duty's number one. So
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a pleasure for me, and I'm speaking for my co-host and everything like that too. I think it's been a great experience, and we really would look forward to having you on again.
yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, you seem like a really cool dude. I'm gonna send you a friend request, and we can continue talking offline sometime. I know you probably got a really hectic and busy schedule. With that being said, if Dan's prepared and ready for it and stuff, we just got like a little daddy joke. We like to kind of put in there towards the end of our shows, and then Corey will wrap it up and take us to the end.
Do it.
All right. If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
Property taxes are due.
Trouble.
No, that wasn't it. Oh, okay, I got nothing.
Me. Fuck. That's a good one, man. Mine's just blown. Like wedding invitations.
Nope. Mayflowers bring pilgrims.
Oh, dang.
Man, I wasn't even. Okay.
Wow. God.
Stupid.
Pilgrims.
Oh shit.
Should have got that.
Man.
God.
All right. I don't think my lag ever got better, but I apologize for that. And like Sam said, hopefully you are able to come back and it will be better next time. You made things super easy for me because in spite of my technological difficulties, I didn't have to do anything. So that was awesome. And no one will ever know in the podcast, and no one will ever really care in the YouTube video. So it'll work out all right either way. We'll just do this the best we can. We'll skip the extra YouTube stuff and just end it with, hey, this has been your 2 dads. If you liked it, like, follow, share, and all the places. And we will appreciate that. And we'll keep doing it Otherwise, we're going to stop. We're just going to stop tomorrow. No shares, no more episodes. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, for myself, take it easy, and we'll check you later.
Yeah, we'll check you later.
Check you later.
All right. So that will be it. We're not going to put this on the YouTubes because I'm not going to keep fucking with this lag. But once again, thanks everybody for joining us. Dustin, man, you made this incredibly simple. This was a great way to come back after a long stretch off. So I do appreciate that. Sam, thanks for your time. Dan, thanks for showing up and taking over there for a little bit. And everybody have a good evening and a good weekend. And Dustin, I'll be in touch with you on Messenger.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you, Corey. Really, thanks for having me. Samuel, nice meeting you, man. Dan, nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, man.
Love to come back on.
For sure.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Take care.
See ya.
See you guys.